That's what I'm saying. The difference between Jesus and the Spirit has to be formality, because the fact he can't come until he ascends is crazy. And then he's saying the same thing that God the Father said for Jesus. He says that I'll put my words in his mouth, and he will not speak on his own.
Nah, not really, because even Revelation 22 verse 1, the Spirit is coming forth from the throne while Jesus is sitting on the throne. It's showing that they're different. If Jesus is sitting on the throne and one is coming forth from the throne, that's a difference. Siphon, hello?
Yo, what's up?
What's up?
I got a couple questions. Off our last conversation, I'm pretty sure, like you said, humans are like flesh and spirit, correct?
Yeah.
So do the Father and Son have the same spirit?
Well, we don't say their spirit in the way that we have a spirit. Like our spirit or like our soul is going to be proper to our human essence. When we say God is spirit, we just mean he's immaterial, not that he's like different spirits.
So like the term Spirit of God would equate to both the Son and Father?
Yeah, it can, or it can refer to a specific person, but it's not like in the same way that our soul is going to be only proper to us. In that way, when it says spirit, it can be talking about any of the persons or all of them. It's not like rigidly designated to one of the persons. Okay,
so in the sense of also our last conversation, when you talked about the word Lord, I feel like, isn't that a bit like picking and choosing?
What do you mean?
In terms of the term Lord, because you said like there's only one Lord in heaven, but you know, the claim of there being one Lord, like it's kind of, I don't know, counterintuitive if there's three lords.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Bible is clear there's one Lord, and the Bible is clear that the Father and Son are the same Lords. That's why I don't see an issue with that.
Okay, that right there, like where does it say that they're the same Lord though? Because I was talking to Logic, and he said that like even in heaven the Son is still serving the Father. How does that work?
Serving the Father in heaven? You must have misunderstood what he said or something.
Yeah, he said he's still a servant to the Father.
Yeah, so I mean it's gonna be Ephesians 4:5 that where it talks about it. There's one body and one spirit, just as you were called to the hope just as you were called to one hope when you were called. One Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is over all and who is in all. Okay, so we know based on the context, okay, that it's first of all calling the Son the Lord, right? Because in the next verse it then says one God and Father of all. So now it's speaking about the Father, right? So we know here it's speaking that the Jesus is the one Lord, but the Father is also called the one Lord. So we know that they would be the same one Lord because they're both called the one Lord.
So, you know, just to say, doesn't that like kind of back up my side of my modalist way of thinking?
No, it wouldn't, because it still distinguishes the two.
Okay, when I say in my sense, there can still be a distinguishing between the different times though. That's my like claim. Like it can distinguish the two different purposes, but that doesn't mean that's two different people.
Well, yeah, I don't think it's just in purpose though. I think it's actually distinct in their personhood themselves. Because like, do you think the Father is eternally the Father?
The Father eternally the Father? Yeah.
Okay, who is he the Father of before creation?
The Father of his children, us.
No, before creation.
Before creation?
Yeah.
Nothing.
So how is he the Father?
He wasn't the Father until he created us.
Okay, so then now you're going to run into an issue. You're going to have to say God changed. He went from not being the Father to being the Father. That's a change. The Bible says God does not change. That's an issue.
We're talking about Malachi 3. I thought we talked about Malachi 3 in terms of his covenant, though.
I don't know, but I don't remember. Maybe
I could differ and say, like, in terms of his fatherhood, he did change, if you think about it.
Okay, is fatherhood intrinsic to the Father or extrinsic to the Father?
The terms, man. You got me there.
It's okay. I can explain the terms if you don't understand.
All right, what do you mean intrinsic and extrinsic?
Like, is it essential to the Father? Like, necessary?
Yeah.
Okay, so if it's necessary, that means that he could not be another way. And so if he can't be another way, he has to always be that way. So he couldn't have become the Father. He had to be the Father even before creation.
That's why I said, like, his fatherhood changes, though. Doesn't that, like, make him... He's still a father, but his children, like...
But he's not before creation, though, according to you, because there's nobody to be the father of.
Yeah, who was he the father of?
That's my point. So if he wasn't the father, then you just contradicted yourself when you said fatherhood is necessary.
The reason... Okay, I see what you're trying to say. The reason why I say that is because I remember last time we talked, you said something about was, like, Jesus the Son, like, before creation. I was like, oh, that's a great question. And I think about it, I'm like, what's the difference between Jesus and God the Father? It has to be purpose before creation.
Yeah, I mean, you can say that, that's fine, but you're still gonna run into the same issue of if it's necessary to be the Father, he has to always be the Father. If he wasn't the Father, then God was lacking a necessary property at some point. That's an issue. God can't lack a necessary property.
Yeah, he never lacked the necessary property. What do you mean by lacking necessary property? Like
Because
what?
you said fatherhood is a necessary property. But then you said at some point he wasn't a father before creation. You said he became a father. So at some point he was lacking that necessary property.
Okay, so before human creation, what was he the father of? Like you're
The
trying to say
son.
it's Christ.
In our view, it's the son. Yeah.
But okay, this is where it runs into an issue because we become his children, but then how will we like once we become his children, are we all is like Jesus my brother? Like how does that work? Because he's also our father, is he not?
Oh, I don't know what you mean by our brother, first of all.
Like think of it heavenly, of course. Like when we're children of God, as Paul always writes. If
Yeah,
Jesus is still the Son of God in heaven, then that is our brother. If we're using biological sense.
So we become the sons of God, right? But God doesn't start being a father when we start being sons. So we change because we become sons. God does not. The issue for you is he isn't a father for creation, but it's necessary for him to be a father. So he's still lacking that property. In the Trinitarian view, he's never lacking that necessary property.
So where is Jesus in that? Is that like a three different categories? Children of God, then there's Jesus, and then there's God the Father. Like I thought Jesus was the Son of God.
He is.
So is he this like when we say God in that sense, is he like God the Father, right?
No. God is not. We don't believe God is only limited to the person of the Father.
So who's Jesus's father? That's what I'm saying.
Jesus' Father is the Father.
Okay, who's our Father in heaven?
It's still the Father.
Okay, so Jesus is our brother.
No, what?
Okay.
Bro,
okay, explain how I'm wrong.
The Bible is never using that way that he is our brother because
that's exactly what I'm trying to prove my point that at the end of the day, like we will not be on the same level as Jesus.
And especially in your view, that wouldn't work. Because he would be both our brother and our father.
No, because I understand that the difference between Jesus and the Father is just the fact that he took on a human flesh.
Yeah, but it's the same person. So you're going to have to say one person is both the Father and our brother.
No, was once our brother, if that makes sense. Like he was, I want to say brother. I would say was once one of us. And then once
he's not anymore? Heaven,
I mean, is he still a human?
Yes.
No, he's not.
What's the resurrection?
The resurrection he took his glorified body and then ascended to heaven.
So he still has a human body, right?
But that's a glorified body, the body that we will take on.
Is it still humanity? Is it still a human body?
Is it still human? No.
Then what is it?
It's like a, I want to be redundant, say glorified body, but
bro, what kind of glorified body?
He's now an angelic being because you can't enter heaven with flesh or a human body. Like those limitations will not exist in heaven.
Says who?
Says the Bible.
The Bible says we can't have a body because there won't be limitations in heaven?
No, there's the body, like you can't enter the kingdom of heaven with a body. It has to be glorified. I think it was.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's a I agree you can't do it unless your body's glorified. But what body is being glorified? Is it the same body you died with is the question. That is glorified.
Is it the same body that you died with?
Yes. Is that the body that's glorified?
Good question. I would say it's like it creates a third category. Yes and no.
Okay, it's like it's not. No. Well, it's either true that it is the body or it's not. It has to be. Either that's the body that's glorified or it's a different body. Which one is it?
I'd say dang. The reason why I say yes and no, yes for Jesus, because he had to do that to prove to the apostles that that's the body that was crucified. But then no, because like I don't see anywhere in the Bible that like how we die is how we're going to be represented in heaven. That like that's not.
It is because it literally says that during the resurrection of humanity that the tombs will be open. Why would the tombs be open if it's not going to be the same body we died with?
So if I get beheaded, will I be walking around with the beheaded head?
No, bro. God is going to put your body perfectly back together. What?
Okay, why wasn't that the case with Jesus though? Once he ascended, we would assume that he didn't take those holes up there or what?
He only had the holes to show them. It was only a manifestation.
That's what I'm saying. So like the way you die, it's a different body. The only reason why he had those holes.
No, it's not it's the same body that's glorified, dude. If it's a different body, if it's a different body, then why are the tombs opened during the resurrection of humanity?
I'll concede with that. I think it is the same body, but I'm trying to say it's like if you heal though, if he heals or like you become full, like if he loses those marks or scars, is that really the same body?
Yeah, it's still the same body. Just like if you heal, if you have a scar and it heals, it's still the same body.
That's true. It definitely is the same body. But then, like it leaves a scar though. We won't have scars. Like it leaves.
It's not true. There's a lot of people that their scars go away. There's a lot of
There's
type of scars that go away.
no, even with any type of surgery, there's always some sort of mark that shows.
It's not true.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Any type of injury, there's just no like remnant.
Yeah, bro, I broke my arm. I broke my arm when I was a kid. You would never know.
Like no skin, no nothing. Like none of that.
Bro, it's perfect. You would never know.
All right. There's always cases where that's true. All right. My next question was the nature of God. Like, okay, can you explain the nature of God in Philippians 2 from the Eastern Orthodox point of view?
What about the nature of God?
Because it said that he took on the nature of a servant. Now you could think like Jesus as the son in general, or to my understanding, he took on the nature of a servant as in Jesus like as a human to the Father, rather than taking on the servant. Like, yes, you can say he was a servant to the Father, but also a servant to humanity, right?
Right.
In that verse, I'm saying that took on the nature of a servant by being Jesus. How would I be wrong?
He took on it was by becoming man, just humanity. So taking on the nature of humanity itself.
Yeah, him being a human, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't a servant before that.
Correct.
Wait, okay, but you told me that the son always existed. Then what was his purpose before creation? Was he just in a waiting room waiting to be Jesus? 2,000
No, he was being God, being the creator of all things and sustaining all things.
So wait, okay. So this is where it gets problematic in Genesis 1:26, because you want to highlight the fact, which is true, that has to be another person in that verse, right? So why do you think there's a difference between the 5 days, but on the 6th day, he makes a distinction? Or is he just adding more information that let us, instead of the other 5 days whereby it was just I?
Yeah, because one is specifically talking about being made in their image. So it's gonna clarify exactly how God exists because it's making them in his image. That's why he said let us, to clarify being made in the image of all three persons.
So you're saying like other things weren't like, okay, who made the other things? If they're all creators,
The Father,
why
Son,
make
and
that
Holy
part stand
Spirit.
out?
They're the same creator, so it's the same act of creation. Just God.
So God in the whole totality.
Yes.
Okay, so is that the same thing when God is always mentioned in the Old Testament?
Yeah, during any action, yeah, it's all participated in by the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Yeah.
But the distinction of the Father and the Son wasn't as prevalent in the Old Testament. Would it be fair for me to say the Lord Jehovah mostly represented the Father?
No, it's the opposite. Jehovah mainly represented the Son.
In that case, I see it like the Father really wasn't. Well, what is the Father's purpose if Jesus is controlling the whole Old and New Testament? What was his purpose?
If the Father is also still controlling everything, okay, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit are all sustaining everything. It's not a difference, okay? What we see the difference is like when we see the manifestations of the Old Testament. For example, we see that Yahweh, right, was literally a man in front of Abraham, right? Mm-hmm. That was a manifestation of Christ, where he was seeing him through the veil of time, where he saw the humanity of Christ. That wasn't the Father. The Father didn't was seen through the veil of time to Abraham. That was Jesus.
Okay, how do we know that's Jesus? Like, because you're saying the Father can't.
Because the Father never takes on flesh. The Son does. The Son's the only one who takes on flesh.
Okay, that's the view. Okay, how do we know that the Father never takes on flesh?
So multiple things. Number one, it's never said in the Bible, for one, which you could say is an argument from silence, but it's fine. It's never said in the Bible that he ever takes on flesh. Number two, the church fathers would also agree that the Father never takes on flesh because it's the Son's role to be the one who takes on flesh, because he's begotten of the Father.
So, because I would say, like, if that's Yahweh, if I believe that Yahweh is like representation of the Father, then I would say he did take on flesh at one point. But since I guess we can agree to disagree on that one. Okay, sure. One more thing for today. I remember John, every time we bring up John 16:12, and
you mean 16:13?
Yeah, 16:13, 16:12. But when it comes to that verse, where you get because I looked into the Strongs, where do you get the own accord, own authority? Like, I feel like that's some translations, but that's not really
on his own authorities. Are you talking about?
Yeah, Where do you get own authority? That's like, I think it's different depending on like the translation, or it's just transliterated differently.
You just have to understand how to read a concordance, because it's like a little bit backwards. So it says in John 6:13, however, when he shall come, the Spirit of truth, he will guide you to all truth, and he will not speak from himself, but whatever he hears, he will speak, and the things coming, he will declare to you. That's what it says on, you can go to the Bible.
Yeah, like the Strong. So I see that, I'm like, okay, like in a way I can see what you're trying to say, but then in a way you can also say that he's not speaking a different message. right?
Nah, that's just, no.
They say he won't speak from himself, as in he's not creating a different message. He's only correcting.
Yeah, but
Right?
if he's not speaking from himself is a declaration of personhood. So if it's not from his own personhood, it's from another personhood. So you
Yeah, and
have
then we
two
see this.
personhood at least.
Well, we see the same cycle with Jesus because he didn't speak his own words. He spoke what he was commanded.
Yeah, that's the point, because they're different
But
persons.
then you see where that differs for me, because I also believe that Jesus is the Father, so that
But
can still work.
I'm saying himself is a reference to personhood though. So if it's not himself, it's another person.
Okay, but I say it's time wise. How would I be wrong if I said it was in the time?
Okay,
Because it's crazy.
what
that
does himself refer to?
himself?
Does it refer to personhood or nature?
With your terms, I would say personhood.
Okay, so if it refers to personhood and it says not himself, we can replace himself with personhood. Not his personhood. That means someone else's personhood.
But okay, I see what you're trying to get at. But how would I be wrong if I say that it's amazing how Jesus says the advocate can't come until I go up? Why is that?
Yeah, the advocate can't come because it's a different person.
Okay, the difference. That's what I'm saying. The difference between Jesus and the Spirit has to be formality, because the fact he can't come until he ascends is crazy. And then he's saying the same thing that God the Father said for Jesus. He says that I'll put my words in his mouth and he will not speak on his own.
Nah, not really, because even Revelation 22 verse 1, the Spirit is coming forth from the throne while Jesus is sitting on the throne.
But we're going to share a throne with Jesus, so how does that work?
It's showing that they're different. If Jesus is sitting on the throne and one is coming forth from the throne, that's a difference.
Is God not omnipresent?
Yeah, he's omnipresent, but that's actually showing a difference in manifestation. So if it's showing a different in manifestation, that's going to be a difference in personhood itself. It's crazy.
Because then Jesus also, like we say, Jesus was more than just a human being,
right?
Which means Jesus is God. Therefore,
right.
Jesus had to also be omnipresent.
Yeah, I agree. Jesus is omnipresent.
Then what differs him from the Father? That's like a limitation.
The fact that the Father begets the Son doesn't beget anyone else.
That's okay. So if I say the difference between Jesus and the Father had to be him taking on flesh, how is that incorrect?
Because you're still making them one person. You're still saying the Father transformed into the Son. He became the Son. That's wrong. That's not what happened.
Okay. I'll just look more into it. Cool. I have to get to the bottom of the Trinity. All right, cool.
Appreciate you coming in, man.